playing some Monster Hunter. And looks like I had a few seconds of dropped frames there, but I think it's over. But anyway, I'm playing some Monster Hunter now, and that's something that I started playing this on and off before I started streaming at all. So I've progressed quite a bit before I ended up, you know, even considering doing streaming. But this is a thing that I've sort of been just passively playing now and then. You know, play it on and off. I didn't want to originally stream it because I don't really think I have much to say about it. There isn't really much to react to immediately, and there's not much to, you know, because I've seen most of the game already. There really isn't that much to say about it either, apart from the fact that everybody is, super durable. It's kind of an amusing nonsense sort of game. And for some reason, those cats like to sing and dance while they cook my food. I don't know what this food is exactly. For some reason, okay, there we go. For some reason, the display had, the display was putting my webcam on the other monitor that I have, that I normally play on. But, I fixed that. Luckily, that's a pretty rare thing to happen. Okay, so I'm gonna fight an Anjanath. I've already unlocked all the animations for the various locations and creatures. Right now I'm playing in the, for some reason, they have some of the progress is locked behind doing multiplayer content. And while I have not necessarily been playing it, you know, I've been playing some of the multiplayer content I haven't cleared in multiplayer, single player, because I tend to prefer single player more, but a bunch of these missions are things that theoretically, to get further than where I am, I have to clear multiplayer first. So I'm just sort of running around clearing objectives a bit. I also haven't really explored these locations at all. I've sort of, for the most part, just gone to objectives and fought the monsters without intentionally exploring things. So I'm missing a bunch of the collectible content. But you know, the game is mostly about the boss fights. I think I've been at this bridge before. Whoops. Oh well. I did not mean to fall down here, but I guess the gold thing on the radar. What is that gold thing? Is that a... Oh, okay, I think I know what it is. The icon on the top right, I looked at it just a moment ago and realized that I do recognize that shape. But when I was looking at the mini-map, I didn't recognize it. Okay. Well, I don't know why I'm getting his attention there. But yeah, this is the weapon that I've been using mostly. Not the best. Not the best weapon to be very interesting, I suspect, to watch. And I don't really know how to play this game. My strategy has been mostly to just throw my head into the brick wall of difficulty and sort of learn over time what works and what doesn't. But I'd like never played any of the weapon tutorials. And while this isn't the first Monster Hunter game I've played, you know, you can dedicate yourself to learning all the different weapons and the way they operate, and never spend time learning like the mechanics of a different weapon. You know, there's a lot of potential to learn things. And for me, this weapon is new to me using in the series, because the first game I played, I mostly used the dual blades and then the club, I think. But mostly the dual blades. That seems like the best beginner sort of weapon. If anybody out there, you know, is looking to play the game for some reason. Okay.
You won't be needing this.
But yeah, if somebody was new, I'd recommend the dual blades to them.
Don't mind me.
It's just the easiest to use. Although I've heard before that the playstyle of Dark Souls is pretty similar to this in some ways, so I guess if you've played that game and liked it a lot, then you wouldn't necessarily want to use the dual blade for the reason of, you know, it being the easiest one to get accustomed to. Okay. Gonna fight this one. That other creature I walked past, I don't think I'll bother to capture or fight it. I mostly just want to get this one for now. Yeah. But yeah. I wasn't thinking of streaming this originally because I don't really think I'm very good at it. And I don't really have anything interesting to show off about it. But, you know, I've been playing it a bit, so I may as well stream it, I guess. But yeah, I know that there's ways that the combos with this weapon work that I'm not entirely aware of how it works. One of these days I'll play the tutorial missions. But for the most part, I think I'm... What? Oh, this tail swipe ended my charge up. Oh well. I liked a lot of the creature designs in this. A lot of them, it's kind of a shame that you smash them as thoroughly as you do. Like a lot of them, it looks like you're ripping off very pretty looking armor or horns and scales or ripping up wings that look like they're very, very ornate. And of course the tails you just sort of hack off in a more or less clean cut down the end of the tail. Which the tail severings always look like they would be a lot more fatal than they actually are. They just kind of pop off cleanly, but it kind of doesn't look like a clean cut. I don't know, it's hard to describe. But the rest of the damage they get looks like, you know, more expected creature wound damage. It's just the tail that looks like it's not as clean or normal type of damage as something would normally get. Okay. I also never looked at the tutorial for how to ride enemies or tire them out or fill the ride gauge. Like I know it's you do a certain type of damage. Yeah, I hacked the tail off. Oops. Okay. But yeah, this tail looks like it comes off a little more naturally looking compared to some of the others. Okay. I don't know why. Yeah, I guess there's a tiny bit of blue I just restored. This fight seems to be going pretty smoothly. Those are big bones. There's a lot of the details to the environment that look very interesting. But for the most part, I'm so focused on the battle that I don't really take a moment to stop and actually see what's there. Which I guess is kind of normal. Most games have super detailed, intricate environments, but then if you're actually like playing the game, you don't really notice them or see most of what's going on with all the details in the background. Which it's almost a shame sometimes that in a lot of games there's sometimes environments that you never see unless you're in the middle of combat, but like the actual environment, like so much work went into it, but you never get to actually see it in a situation where you're not, you know, under threat of losing the game. That's one of the nice things about this, is that you can actually take a moment to look around. Giant. Wow, that fossil is really up there. How's it staying up there? That's crazy. Okay. But yeah, you'd never see that in the middle of a fight. You'd even if it's on screen, you'd be too busy focusing on what you're doing to actually do anything to actually look up there and notice it. But this game has a lot of things that are detailed about the environments. Also, the environments are, I would say, probably suitably ridiculous. As in, fantasy should be ridiculous like this, I think. Fantasy games. Iridescent ore? Oh, I guess I've never gone up there. Okay, that's where I find it. I've been looking forever for where to find that stuff and never seen that before. Okay, I should probably actually go. Well, maybe I'll grab this first. Might seed. Well, I'm only grabbing that because I know it's rare. I don't ever really use it. But at least I know where the bismuth ore is now. It's the rare account item that you can get in this map. Hooray. Well, I guess I'll go fight the Tigrex. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I guess I beat the thing soon. Or I beat it pretty quickly, I think. Well, this guy's a... most of these monsters have like a set of things that you can get that are optimal for fighting them. And this guy I'm not optimized to fight. Mostly it's the kinds of things they do. You can get resistances to it. Like that roar is so loud that it will knock you unless you have an earplugs status condition. Which earplugs are not just simply earplugs, they're like a special trait or attribute of armor. Like the status is called earplugs, but they don't actually represent actual earplugs, they're just like a condition of the armor that you have. But yeah, that would have knocked me back if I wasn't guarding. Or it would have knocked me down. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Trying to get his tail. One of the nice things about breaking the tail part, at least, is that it makes the monster less dangerous, because all of its tail sweeps will just have less range because of it. I don't think any other monster parts that you can break work like that, though. Which is kind of a shame, because you'd think that'd be kind of a neat thing about it. Like maybe if you break other monster parts, there's some aspect to it that isn't immediately obvious that makes their fighting less effective, but if there is, I don't know of it, whatever it is. Like maybe it reduces their attack power or something. Or makes them less likely to use that part in their attacks. But yeah, the tail, like, you know, removes a chunk of them, so they no longer swing it around as much. But the claws, they just get sort of like a broken look, but they don't really look, they don't really decrease in size. I like how that one in his charge falls down. He hit the mine. Also, the neat thing about the tails is that I think the loot that you can get from attacking the tail is unique to severing the tail, and you can't get it normally by just fighting it. Ah, there he goes. Made me go flying because he roared so loud. But yeah, this is, I think, the creature that roars the loudest out of all the creatures that roar. As in, you know, you need to block, or you need to have the best hearing defense in order to prevent from getting knocked down. But yeah, if you have that power up every time he roars, you can just completely ignore it. Okay. Yeah. No, I wasn't facing the direction he roared in. But yeah, that's nice. You can see the, like, roar's action lines. Yeah. I think this weapon, out of a lot of them, is designed so that you're you don't actually dodge as much with this weapon. You're meant to more block instead of dodge. Okay, ride the T-Rex.
I'll be gentle. Promise.
I'll be gentle. Okay. I also don't really know what I'm doing with this. You know, I kind of know what to do just because I've played this so much, but yeah. Anyway.
I knew I could count on you.
And he's running away. All of these shinies are things I get for running in this area. Hey, there's a little hole here. Oh, I guess that doesn't go anywhere. I thought maybe I could crawl in there, but I think maybe that's where those raptors come out of.
Let's go.
Okay, this this quest seems to be going pretty well. Oh, there's a... Okay. I'm on a lower level quest. The one I was playing on before was one that was a little higher level, I think. No, I don't want to fish.
Let's see.
I also don't really know what I want to get, like... A lot of things in this game are done by crafting, so it's possible to... There's a lot of things to collect, and so a lot of the things that I'm looking for, I just gather when I'm near them. I don't even really know if they're something I want or need. Well, I was sort of on the edge of its roar, so it only made me... Ah. Okay. Ah. Ah. It just keeps knocking me down.
Best pal.
Okay, there we go. I want to get his tail. But yeah, all of the various things you do in this game are just to collect crafting ingredients. So, well, you know, probably if it did by this point, most people have at least some familiarity with the game. I think so. It's kind of a amusing sort of thing to be doing in a game world. I kind of like it, even though there's no story. It's basically the most streamlined sort of thing. You're just getting the monsters just to get them. Just because they provide you, you know, they provide you good equipment. It's like, why are you fighting this guy? Because he can provide you useful materials, so you can fight more guys. Kind of like that, because it's sort of like... Ultimately, that's kind of what you do as a player in a lot of RPGs. You know, especially MMOs. You're just doing the quest so you can get the better materials so that you can do the next quest. But like, not all RPGs usually come up with like a character tells you something that, you know, oh, you're not just doing it for treasure, you're doing it for some story reasons. But this game just has... This game just like, no, you're just doing it because you can. You're not really doing it for any story reasons. There sort of are, like, there are little bits of text that the game will have in it, but it's not to the point where it's like, even when they do try to give you story justification, it's really, it's one sentence that a character you never see usually tells you. You just read a little text string and then you go fight them. And you know, there's no real reason why you're doing it. And half the time those text strings are just jokes. Talking about like, oh, This monster was annoying. I was trying to kill it, but then it got away. So how about you kill it? You know, stuff like that. So in terms of like story, it's the most what, pared back kind of a story that you could possibly have. You know, so what you're doing is more in line with what the character in the game is doing is the most in line with what you're doing as a player. Which kind of makes sense. Because in this world, the creatures that exist, like all of the best materials that are in the world
Knew I could count on you.
are actually made out of creature stuff. You know, they don't have sheep, they have these weird spider sheep that, you know, they're not like these things. The spider sheep are, you know, much smaller and you can attack them pretty easily, but if you want good armor or good weapon, you need to fight one of these to acquire the materials for it. So it's sort of like you're somebody that is an armored warrior, and in order to actually be a decent armored warrior with gear, you have to actually go out and fight monsters of some kind, you know, dragons and other dragons and more dragons. They're pretty much almost all dragons, so. There, I broke that arm. I'm gonna fight this arm. He's running away. Well, I will chase him. Ah. There we go. I think I got all of them. Okay, I can... Ah, dang it. Okay, I got that one. Hooray! Okay, now let's see. I think all the, I'm not certain, but I think all of the various areas of the game have two different base camps, and I only have the original one. Or they have like extra ones you can unlock, but I don't have any of the extra ones for this place because I haven't run around exploring at all.
Gotta stay sharp.
There's like explore missions too. I haven't really done those. I did the explore mission in like one area maybe. You could just stay out doing them as long as possible and there's no time limit. But yeah, that's something that's kind of nice about this game, that you can have those explore missions. I don't even remember why I tried doing why I did the explore missions originally. I just did them. Okay. It's a big old volcano.
Just a quick polish.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess I'll grab these. I wasn't thinking of them. Okay. sometimes when I'm trying to use the fast item selector, I end up selecting the wrong option. Okay, let's see. I'm not gonna climb the mountain. I want to go through it, because he's... Oh man. I've mostly explored these maps to know at least what they look like. They dropped that. I don't know what the wyvern tier is supposed to be. Because you can like go somewhere that you can go to some random location and find them in the place. I don't think you even need to necessarily have started fighting the creature before it drops them. Sometimes it just drops them. And whatever it is, it's something that doesn't like evaporate or get destroyed or whatever. It's just something that exists. Oh, may as well collect this. There's lizards that have like crystals that grow on their back. I don't know why kicking it makes an item fall out. Why are there bushes here? Usually if there's a little side area here, there'd be something there. Maybe there was something there that I picked up. Because there are unique collectibles too. Like you collect them once and then they're like an unlock that stays. Yeah, I got Firestone. Okay, now it's time to fight the T-Rex.
Let's see how you handle this.
Okay. T-Rex with weird back flaps. It's like it's a proto-dragon of some kind. It just makes those flaps go up when it gets angry. And it can also breathe fire. It can't just have it be a flat-out T-Rex. It has to have like some features that are unusual for a T-Rex. Or would be unusual for a T-Rex. Of course, there's like 3 different things that look kind of like a T-Rex, so this isn't necessarily the only one. Okay. This is my actual quest target.
You're my best pal.
Who is her best pal? I don't know who she's saying that about, because I've got 2 helpers in this. And as far as I can tell, both of them are supposed to understand English. Like the cat will talk. And the dog is implied to be able to understand speech, but doesn't speak themselves. So, I don't know, it seems a little unfair to refer to either of them as their best. Ah. Their best friend. The dogs are just barking at him. Yep, even though the dog is implied to be smart enough to understand speech, they're still dogs. They're still gonna bark at the creature that's 50 times its size. So, even though it's a dog that's capable of understanding speech, it will, it still's got the brain of a chihuahua. I also like how ridiculous these fights are, because, you know, in real life it would not matter how armored you were or how well equipped you are. Something this size attacking you would definitely, the fight would be over in a second. A 3-ton dinosaur just stomping on you. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ten minutes left. Well, yeah. I guess I may as well go get this thing. Ah. It dropped a single scale. The funny thing about this for crafting is that most of the materials that you can get from a single fight, most of the rare materials, you need more than one in order to complete good sets of armor. You don't even necessarily get enough for most of an armor set from fighting a creature once. Which, you know, makes sense from a gameplay perspective, but in terms of a world perspective, doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. Okay, where'd he go? Oh, he ran outside. Looks like. Doesn't want to be in these lava caverns with water anymore. May as well grab this. But yeah, this is a relatively low level mission compared to where I'm at. But, so yeah, the fights are going a lot quicker. the amount of hit points that these creatures have is like 10,000 or something. Also, I'm not sure if this creature you can break his tail. Or sever his tail, rather. You can probably still do damage to it. I ran the wrong way.
Stop begging for mercy. This should do.
Yeah. No. There's a bug up here. I know that god bugs are something rare, but like, I think they have a unique healing item or buff item that you have to have them late in the game to create them. Yeah. I guess I probably won't have much success sharpening it. I know that little head thing, he can get injured. Also, one of the things about this is way late in the game, probably later than where I am. I thought I had a super potion. Oh well. One of the things about the game that's kind of neat is way late in the game, you start wanting to have specific armor loadouts and weapon types when you fight all the creatures. Like, early on in the game you can use one weapon on everything, but later on you want to be able to have a specific loadout.
I'm going after it.
It kind of makes it so that you can decide to be as dedicated as you want. Like, I think you see like 90% of the content before things start getting hard that way. So there's like still new stuff to see later on, but like a lot of the fights that you can do without needing to do inventory management to that degree, you get to see before then. So it's sort of like it does the best possible way you could handle having the gameplay turn out like that. It's kind of like it gives you a learning curve that, you know, still gives you plenty of time if you don't want to dedicate a whole lot of gameplay to it. I'm almost out of time. Yeah. I might have wasted too much time on those other fights I did before this one. But I still get the reward. I still get the reward for those two whether or not I finish this one. I still got a few minutes left, I think. It's cutting it really close though, if I do win. And if that does happen to me, I'll just restart it and then fight this guy right away. Or accept the mission again. Because there's basically no consequences for failing. Not that I can think of it as. Oh, okay. You just lose whatever resources you had. Okay, there we go. Oh, that was the largest size Anjanath. I think I've only fought one before. Or, I may have fought two before, but still. It also tracks the largest sized ones you fought and the smallest sized ones. A bit of clipping on the shield there, but that's kind of normal for... That's normal for a lot of games to do that. Okay, I guess I probably have fought a few more than just one. I have a few Anjanath tells already. Okay. I always kind of look over these even though it kind of doesn't matter. Sometimes I like to read the flavor text, even though they're all just, this material is really good. They're all just variations of that. Okay. Yeah, nothing really new. Yeah, I had 58 more seconds to complete that than I used. So I just barely got through it. But I fought 3 monsters and captured all 3. So that's not too bad. I never really read those things in the corner. I never think of them. And now I get more stuff for just the random things that I did. None of them give me like special things, so I'll just pick the generic ones. But yeah, these are all of the multiplayer stuff. I've just been kind of going through these to get a check mark next to them. And since I have more Rathalos. Since I have more of the higher level gear, I can just kind of go through these for the completion's sake.
Having trouble choosing? You know,
Hey.
I sometimes have trouble deciding what to make for dinner too. So what I usually do is I go out of my way to make the most difficult dish I can.
Okay. I was kind of listening to that commentary that was said. She said when she has trouble making a choice of what to have to eat, she just makes the most difficult thing to fix. Which doesn't strike me as a very good... I mean, I guess it's something. I don't know what her job is, but I guess it doesn't tire her out since she's just behind the desk all day. I guess that's a good idea to do that in general. Oh, time to eat and go back out there. Maybe I will just go complete this mission. Yeah, there's the little thing. A cat hired me to go fight. Yeah. Yeah, the story, the flavor text for this, I briefly read it there, and it says that basically a cat saw one of these dragons and he decided to run away because it spat fire at him. And for some reason, now it falls to me to fight the dragon. Or I get a reward if I fight the dragon, so I have absolutely no idea how that makes any sense for motivation. But see, that's the thing I was saying about this game, is that there's pretty much no reason for you to be doing these monster fights other than they are something you can do. Like, they just tell you about, oh, I saw a monster. And they don't, like, tell you why you should go fight it. They just tell you that they saw one. And that's the reason why you're doing the quest to fight them. But I think I'll just go fight the Rathian. Or was it a Rathalos? No, yeah. Yeah, this is a Rathalos. The Rathian is the green one that looks almost the same as this. Also, this one poisons you and uses fire, which means that if I was better equipped, I would not be using this fire weapon that I have. Because I can't remember for sure, but I think it is resistant against fire.
You won't be needing this.
Yeah, may as well carve that. I looted a head from the flying monster body, but I didn't actually remove its head. You know, lots of little details that are not important to add to the game. Okay. This is like one of the mascot critters. I think the mascot one is the Rathian, though. The green version of this. I never like figured out what the specific body parts to damage on each creature is. Like, I think this one is the 2 wings, the tail, and the head. It might have its legs damageable also, but I can't remember for sure. Yeah, probably. I think usually wings, head, the wings, head, tail, and legs are kind of standard for the creatures that have all those body parts, at least. Ah, I thought I blocked in time.
It moved somewhere
Okay. Hey, it's a Magnum Mallow in here. But yeah, I am very not optimized for this fight. Fighting a dragon with a fire weapon. But you know, I'm just sort of completing the quest that hasn't been completed yet. Not too worried about needing to optimize everything for every fight. It'll be a while before I get to that point, I think. Because I think most of the time in this game, you don't need to get anywhere close to that. Yeah, I broke its head. I wish it would tell you what part was broken in the little thing. I mean, you can kind of tell, but it's not necessarily always obvious. Like sometimes you're fighting them for a while and you sort of lose track of what you've already damaged, and you get that message that part was broken, but you don't necessarily can't really tell what it is. And sometimes the damage to the leg and the wing can be a little bit same looking. I guess that's also part of the skill of the game, is knowing how to target areas and what to target. And yeah, the when they get tired like this, I don't know what causes it or when. I know that there is things that will cause them to get tired like that. There we go.
Nothing personal.
Here's a big old chunk got removed.
I'm going up.
Okay, let's see where it went. It's going back to the other place that I fought it.
Just a quick polish.
That's not too bad. I think I'm getting through this pretty well. I think they tend to run away after you've done either a timer is hit or... What? Oh, okay, it killed a monster at that region and it gave me credit for it for some reason. Yeah. Ah. Oh, okay. I was going to carve up his dinner. I never optimized my quick bar. Like the quick selection options. I never optimized them beyond what the default is. For some reason I don't really like doing that most of the time in games. Like if there's a default control scheme, I'll usually use it, whatever it is. Even if it's a really bad default control scheme. Kinda depends on the game though, because But yeah, like this, all those shortcuts. I'm sure that if I'm sure it would help if I changed all of those around to be completely different. Because I only ever use a couple of options for what's actually there right now. Ah. Okay. Ah. Yeah. Also, a lot of these creatures have different immunities and resistances to various status effects. And it like tracks a bunch of stats of them individually. Oh, I broke the other wing. Okay. Okay. Wow. That's the smallest tiny sliver of health I think I've ever had and not gotten knocked out from. That was some recovery there. Okay. Okay.
It moved somewhere else.
Okay, moved up the mountain. I think the battle's almost over now. Okay. I don't know how long I planned to stream today. I was feeling kind of not much like doing it, but I figured I may as well since I, you know, had a bit of time and didn't know what else I wanted to do today. But I don't know if I want to go the full 4 hours or whatever. I'm not sure how much, how good that is to go for that long anyway. Okay. Ah. That's the trouble with this weapon. If they start to run away, you can end up losing your, your powerful blast. I should really probably try all the different weapons at some point instead of just picking one that I sort of learn how to use mostly through trial and error. Ah.
This should do.
Ah. I did not mean to do that. But yeah, if I modified that, I might be able to at least get rid of the speed sharpening thing being right next to the health recovery item I keep using all the time. Should probably replace this weapon with something that isn't element specific. I tend to prefer that most of the time, but that way I don't have to feel like in situations like this where the monster's really resilient against a particular element, I don't have to feel like it takes me forever to fight them. But, you know, most fights in the game take a long time. It's just a matter of feeling like it takes a lot longer than it needs to. Okay, there we go. Alright, took me a while. Now I'll grab this. Pet the dog. I also never really upgraded the armor that my pets use at all. I always forget about it, and then every once in a while I'll just buy new armor for them. New armor and weapons. Okay. I think it's something like every time you break a part, it has a chance of giving you a drop from that part. That's why it only has, even though I broke both its wings, it only gives me one for one of the wings. But yeah. Now I have a bunch of Rathalos skulls and whatnot. Only took 15 minutes. Well, I'll do the other one at the lava caverns next. But one of the other things about this is that they keep introducing new mechanics. Like as you keep going on, there's a bunch of different mechanics it introduces. And it's kind of silly because a lot of the mechanics are things that like don't really... Oh. The number of tranquilizer bombs that I have is diminished. Sleep herb. There we go. But yeah, there's like a bunch of things that you don't... Like, theoretically I beat the game, I guess? I don't know what it is exactly, but they basically tell you at the beginning of the game that you gotta fight this one monster, and then you... After you've played it for about 40 hours, you have that fight. And then the game keeps going, like, keeps giving you new content after that. But, like, there's mechanics that only get introduced after the point where it shows you the credits. And some of these things are things that you don't even really have to tinker with at all to get to beyond it. Like this decorations mechanic, which I don't even have like decorations in every item that can have a decoration in it. And the decorations that I do have are like not much really. I mean, I have something that gives me protection against poison or resistance to poison, but I don't have I also never used any of the rampage skills that are on a weapon, and that's a mechanic that like unlocked a lot sooner than the decorations. Then there's like a necklace item that you can get that I also didn't haven't really done much with. Game is kind of crazy that way. Oh, I didn't accept new submissions. Oh well. Or new optional missions. Usually I'm careful to do that, but sometimes I forget.
Ready for anything.
And this monster I'm fighting because he exists. Oh, okay. I guess these are all still fresh. Okay, I guess that's not... That wasn't a mistake that... Oh, actually it would have told me that the missions were completed when I talked to the person. Okay, so they're... I always get the free items. There.
Too easy.
May as well grab the spider web. Spider webs are really useful. Okay, instead of fighting all the monsters like I normally do, I'm just gonna go for the target. So I'm gonna skip this Rathian there. And go straight for the Magna Mallow. Okay. Okay, now this guy looks like he's just covered in bony ridges. Looks really neat. That crazy glowing tail is like, I don't know what it's supposed to be. Purple energy of some kind. It's like, I can't remember what the game called it. I think it's not Blast Blight, but it was something similar sounding to that, I think. Okay. Time to wreck up this guy's bony ridges and stuff. Ah. This is one of the fast creatures, so it's kind of hard to... It's kind of hard to know exactly when to strike. Luckily my armor is, yeah. Luckily my armor is pretty good. So I should be able to take this guy out. This is the creature that the first time you fight one, it does a credits roll after you beat it. And it's considered, I guess, the end of the story. Or the end of the plot, if this game can be said to have a plot. But because of that, I also don't really know what I'm doing quite as much fighting it as some of the other creatures. Plus, the previous version of this game that I played, this creature did not exist in it, so... Woo! So it takes me a little more effort to find out what to do. Or to know exactly how to fight it. Got really nice antlers. Or horns. These look like antlers though. kind of wonder if there's going to be how many more creatures that were in the previous version of this, the previous game in this series that I saw, are going to be in this one. They just don't get revealed until the way late game. Also, I don't remember if this guy is resistant to fire damage. Game doesn't even tell you what types of damage they're susceptible to, at least not directly. You kind of have to figure that out on your own, which for the longest time I had absolutely no idea in the game before this. I just had no clue whatsoever how it made any sense to like know what creatures are supposed to be susceptible to what. Because, you know, unless you look up a fact on the internet, you know, how would you know stuff like that? Unless you, like, obsessively collect data, you know, about these games. Okay, it took me this long. Every strike with this weapon on this creature did so much damage. You know, stuff like that. And it's not like you can just... It's not like it'd be super trivial to just change weapons all the time. You'd have to have a completely different... you'd have to, you know, quit the current mission you're on, accept the mission again, change your weapon out, go back into the same mission. You know, so it'd be something that you'd be doing pretty... using a lot of your time on to do, to compile all that information. But yeah. So for the longest time I like never considered like, how are you supposed to know what's weak against fire or electricity or dragon? Seems kind of now that I know kind of what you're supposed to do, or at least what's reliable-ish, kind of feels silly that I didn't know for as long as I did, but you know, it's not too bad a thing. But I still don't really understand how you're supposed to tell if they're weak against poison or paralysis or sleep, though. Other than getting a weapon with that element or trying to inflict the element on them. Okay. I wonder if the game is consistent with a lot of the post-game content in each game being the same general dragons, the same general monsters, being the like way late game stuff. So that's something that actually seems kind of neat about this, is that a lot of the creatures, even though there's ones that are new to me now, a lot of the more, I don't know, there's like very easy, very low difficulty ones, and there's very high difficulty ones, and generally they have a consistent pattern of, in this game, I started out with the same low difficulty ones and end up facing a lot of the same high difficulty ones. Which it's mostly governed by size, which ones are the difficulty ones, which ones are not, but you know, not completely governed by size. Ah. Yeah. I should have gotten my wolf before I sharpened my weapon. Oh well. Or my dog. Whatever it is. I should have ridden it before doing the weapon thing. Oh well. Okay. Also, the thing about this game is that you can basically just play it forever, because it slowly ramps up the difficulty until it gets to a point, I think. I mean, I don't know if it's true of this one, but probably. But the previous one, you just play it until it got to such a difficulty that you would not be able to progress any further. And it wasn't for... It never felt to me like the point where it reached at was... what? Never felt to me that the point where it got too difficult to play anymore was an unfair difficulty. Like, it definitely does get to a point where, in order to keep progressing, you need to really know what you're doing, but it doesn't like suddenly get to that point. It gets to that point slowly. And one of my favorite things about that game was I played that game a lot to get pretty far, but my brother also played it a lot, but there were some encounters and creatures that I know he never saw because he didn't get to quite the same obsessive level of he never quite got to the same level of completion as I did. So I know there were a few things that he never saw that, you know, feels kind of nice. Because if you put 20 hours into it to go up to the next difficulty area, then it's nice to see something new at the end of that 20 hours or whatever. Even if it's something that, you know, it's like, oh, it's one new creature. It's not like it's gonna make the game radically different to have one new fight after 20 hours of a bunch of the same old fights that are just, you know, the creatures are just more hit point sponges than they were before. But, you know, if you play a game for 100 hours, you don't need to get a big reward for playing it 20 more hours. It can be something relatively small that keeps your attention engaged. I mean, that's why things like MMOs work, is because they people like the core gameplay, but because if you dedicate like 2 years to it, you don't need to have huge differences in the gameplay or content to feel like you're seeing something worthwhile. You only need a little bit. That's kind of like how this game works too. I think that's probably the best design. So if you like running around enough, you know, in the game, then that's its own little reward. Okay, let's see, where... Oh, then that isn't what I want. Oh, okay, I guess that's okay. I was looking around for that unique ore item that I found earlier. I guess I don't know where it is. Okay, let's see where. I may as well get the health. But I kind of like the idea of a lot of this world, but the actual way that it's put into a game is kind of silly. You know, the idea of having all these monsters that, in order to get good items, you need to be, in order to get the best item, you need to fight them, to gather their feathers, gather a bit of their scales, some of their hide. That's like really neat from a lore perspective, but in the actual like real world, that would be extremely difficult to have that be monster fights rather than just, oh, we domesticated them, or we are a big game hunter and we took them out with a high-powered rifle from 3 miles away. Like, that would be the dynamic that would happen. Or you'd like trick them into a trap, and you'd trick them into a trap and then drop 5 tons of rock on their head, and then wait for them to bleed out, that kind of thing, and then you'd run up there and collect their hides and stuff. You'd never have a situation like this where you go fight them hand to hand. But like in a dynamic sense, it would make a lot of... It would be interesting to have a world like that. I mean, it's clearly, you know, a fantasy world, but even so, this is the only kind of world that would make any kind of sense in like a game context, where you can have people that are crushed by a thing with the mass of several elephants, and the person just sort of rolls around on the ground and then gets up again. Or drinks a little potion and is all better. I'm just watching its attack pattern. I do remember this creature jumping all over the place. There's probably an item that, or there's probably a condition that makes my guard recover faster. But then again, you know, dodging stuff is always a better option than guarding if you have the option. Oh wow. I'm lucky that missed me. I forgot he had that wide cannon blast attack.
It moved somewhere else.
I should have used that trick toad. The flying fish thing, whatever it is. I mean, it calls it a trick toad, but it's kind of a weird name for a fish that flies around in the air. But yeah, the world design of this is something I like to see because I like my fantasy worlds to be as completely as ridiculous as possible in their design. Because if you don't make the fantasy world as completely ridiculous looking as possible, like why even bother having it be a fantasy world if it just looks like Earth? By having it be this ridiculous giant caverns that have fossils embedded in the ceiling, or not even fossils, just like skeletons embedded in the ceiling, and having giant flaming magma mounds that are just around. Like having this look like a real mountain would be a lot less neat. Like sure, put vines everywhere. Right next to, you know, active lava flows. I can't even remember if I like... I think in the original game I collected a lot of armor sets, but I don't think I collected all of them that I could have theoretically made. I remember I collected like the butterfly set of armor. Looks like it's made out of butterfly wings and stuff. Haven't collected that in this game though, but I will at one point. Because I like how silly that armor looks. Which, you know, it's basically the same thing with, same sentiment with landscapes, but with armor.
All my best power.
Because, you know, if you're inhabiting a fantasy world, you may as well have it look as ridiculous as possible. That makes it more fun to engage with. Ah. I guess that purple energy on you gives you a hit after it's been on you for a while. I still haven't broken any of its parts. Oh, ouch. It flung me 40 feet in the air and then flung me 40 feet in the air, and then when I landed back on it, it exploded me.
Get to follow it.
I get the feeling that I'm supposed to be using some kind of status effect on him. More generally than what I'm doing now. Like, not fire, but something like poison or paralysis or sleep. There we go. I heard its tail. I think the tail is probably the best individual part to go after, just because it gives you the unique drops, but other than that, you know. I think a lot of the creatures, when you break their tail, it really does severely limit their reach with tail swipes.
Thanks, buddy.
What did I say thanks, buddy, for? Ah. I don't know if that disappears or not if you haven't harvested it in a while. I don't think it does, but I don't usually like to risk stuff like that. Yeah, he's still doing the... I think it probably does stay though. I don't know. I broke it, so I guess that's the most important part of that. Okay. Ah. No, dang it. I thought he was running away. Ah. Well, I passed out, but
I'll be back.
I hope that tail's still there when I show up. It'd be annoying to go through all that effort to sever his tail and then have it disappear. I'll have to make sure I go to that particular cavern though. Okay. Riding my horse dog. Okay. I don't think it moved caverns at all. So I think I'm good here. No, this is a different cavern. Guess it's over there. Is that icon? Is that pink icon the tail maybe? I don't really know. Okay, it did move. Oh, maybe that pink icon is this tail. Bit. I don't know why the...
Can't fight like
Time to go back. Oh, those random enemies.
Let's see.
Monster fossil. Chalcedony, great bone. Well, whatever it is. Yeah, it's moving locations. Oh, maybe it's up here? No. Thing that I found earlier. Okay, yeah, this looks right. Okay, right there. It's a yellowish. Yeah, okay, that's kind of a neat looking sort of crystal. That would be a very unusual sort of ore to see. I guess I'll try to remember where it is, so the next time I'm here I can go right there again. Or I can go there when I'm in the area. Okay. Ooh, wow. I dodged that just barely. I'm not exactly sure how the dodging works, but I think you get like a few moments of invincibility, and the rest of it is kind of like the rest of the dodging is sort of like you're not invincible, but you have a reduced hitbox. Like, I think most of it is just operates on like a hitbox reduction or hitbox shift. So the dodging is like really hard. It's not meant to be something that you engage in by, you know, having dodge be perfect. It's more about knowing the situation to be in that you don't need to dodge. Oh, he's weak now. I can capture him. But first I'll pick those up. There we go. Hooray! There we go. Gonna go these bones.
What's this?
Okay. Well, I think Dragon Husk shards are pretty good for where I am.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't fought that creature many times. A lot of the creatures you fight a lot more than others. Well, I mean, you sort of, you can fight them in any order you want because you basically just select from a list that never changes about what creatures your mission actually is. But the missions themselves, generally, there's some creatures that appear in 5 missions, or there's some creatures that I have access to fight like in 6 or 7 different missions, and then there's other creatures that only 2 missions will send me to fight it. So if I want to complete all of the missions for the sake of completion, I'd fight the one 7 times, and then I'd fight the other one only twice. Officially. But a lot of the creatures I also tend to fight just because they're also in the area. At this point in the game, I'm just kind of... I did not mean to talk to her. Okay, there we go. I meant to do that. Yeah, an adamant seed. I'll get that as a thing. Shrine Ruins quests. But yeah, in order to progress the game where I'm at now, I need to complete 5 missions here amongst the ones with the red markers, and then it will allow me to select a mission that is a higher level, I think. Which, you know, these are multiplayer quests, so all the creatures that I could fight here are a lot tougher.
Master Hojo drew all the monster pictures. Aren't they great?
I think I did.
As well, but it's very hard.
Yeah, I did this one on my own, but a lot of the others I haven't tried. I'm just doing the lower level missions to get that check mark. Sandy Plains. Probably do another 3-star mission. Hunter Nargacuga. Bishatan and Almudron. Wow, something where I have to fight 3 monsters in an arena. Some of these I kind of want to wait till I have optimized gear for. Just because that 50 minutes and hunting 3 creatures is a little bit cutting it kind of close. Well, I'm not even sure if I want to keep going for now. But, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to play Monster Hunter for a bit. Someday soon, I'll probably resume playing this a little more, maybe. Or maybe I'll resume later tonight or tomorrow. But as for now, I think I've had enough for the moment. So, I'll see everyone later, if anyone's there. And have a good rest of your night.